we'll dismiss the kids to go back to wherever they go back there. That means kids on the front row, too. I'm talking to my own son. All right. I think they sometimes worry that we're going to say stuff that we don't want them to hear. But hopefully that doesn't happen in church. Let's continue to worship this morning with Revelation song.
Something. So our group's are forming. Bible studies are forming. If that would be of interest to you, we'd love to have you be a part. You can use the QR code and chairs in front of you to register for those. Got right now 2 or 3 groups and 2 or 3 Bible studies that are happening. We'd love to have another group leader. If maybe you've been thinking about it, now's the time to let me know. Go ahead, Jason. Next Sunday, those who are interested in playing golf, we have 3 tee times at the Falls, beginning at 1:30. Just going to have some fun with that. We're going to play a 9-hole scramble, and then we're going to play a 9-hole best ball. That'll get us to 18 holes. Love to have you. If you have a couple of guys you want to play with, or gals, doesn't matter. It's not just gender specific to guys. It's guys and gals. You can sign up with the 2 or 3 of you, or if you just want to play and you don't really know anybody, again, use the QR code for that. But love to have you do that today or tomorrow, just so I can confirm with the golf course how many we're expecting next Sunday afternoon. Jason, you're on a roll. Is that it? That's all? Financial Peace University is coming a week from Wednesday. No, is it this Wednesday? This Wednesday. Will be offered here. Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. Heather and Chad are going to lead that in one of the blue rooms in the back. You sign up by going to the Ramsey Financial Peace University site and enroll yourself that way. And then I feel like there was one other thing here that I'd written down that I was counting on a slide for, but there's no slide. All right, we're going to begin a series today entitled "If Money Talked." What if, you know, and I'm going to touch on this in just a moment, we often talk to our money. What if our money were to talk back to us? Now, here's what I fully recognize, that talking about money in church is like, I might as well sling mud. It is one of the toughest things. You know, there's only 2 topics we don't talk about in church. You know the other one, I can't say it out loud. And then there's money, okay? And but I want you to see how difficult it is to talk about money as you watch this guy kind of do man on the street interviews. If we can, I think we can make this video work. Go ahead, Jason.
Asking strangers questions about their favorite things to be open and candid about their money and the personal decisions they make with their money. What could go wrong? Oh, people, excuse me. Sir, ma'am, can I ask you guys a couple of questions? Do we have cameras over here? Sure. If we could turn. It's not going to be anything too personal, I promise. How much money do you guys make annually?
That's not personal.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a pharmacist.
A pharmacist. How much money do you make as a pharmacist?
It's decent.
But like, how much money though?
Oh, we want to try the real numbers.
Real numbers. This is a real video, real numbers.
It pays rent.
How much money do you make? In like a year.
I'm not comfortable sharing these information with anyone else.
Why not? Why won't you just tell me the number? Like, it's just us.
I mean, it's pretty good.
Okay, you're not gonna tell me. That's fine. I thought we were friends. Are you feeling more bullish or more bearish these days?
More bearish.
Feeling bearish. Do you know the difference?
No. I don't really know exactly what you're asking me.
I don't know. I feel like a lot more people get eaten by bears than get eaten by bulls. Would you say that you are a generous person? That took too long. You're a selfish person. What kind of credit card are you rocking these days?
Who is he? I have it on me.
Let me see. Yeah, take it out. Get a 4-7. Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I love it. I have that one. Yeah, I was just looking because I have the same one. Who was like your favorite teacher growing up? Do you remember their name?
Yeah, her name is Miss Bannock.
Miss Bannock. Oh man, I don't remember that. Yeah. Did you have a favorite dog? Like, what was his name?
His name was Zeus.
Wow. Yeah. Sacrilegious. What did you say your last name was? What's your mother's maiden name? How much money is in your bank account? What is your mom's maiden name?
Gun, I think you're going to hack my banking account with all this information now.
Oh, no. This is for church. Nothing ever sketchy ever happens behind the scenes at church. But was Gun with 1 N or 2?
So it's 2.
What are the last 4 digits of your social security number?
4243.
4243. Okay, perfect. Wow, I think that's all we need. Do you have any financial advice for me? I'm a stand-up comedian.
Are you really?
Well, that's very offensive that you would ask. You said that in a way that was like, really? Honestly, I'm a stand-up comedian, but my dad is a pastor, and he'll just pay me to do things like this so that I don't have to move back in with him.
Well, spend your money.
If he's just gonna pay you to do things like this, by all means, spend it and keep doing things like this.
I think that I'll probably just write out this whole dad as a pastor thing as long as I can.
I would too.
Ma'am, what is the most expensive thing you've ever bought that he doesn't know about? What is your least favorite thing about the way she spends money?
Going to the mall and spending a lot of time.
What's your least favorite thing about the way he spends money?
Sports and hunting.
What are the odds of you guys having a fight after this?
100%.
I think we'll be okay.
You said 100% and you said you think you'll be okay. So that's good. Sounds like a fight. My bad.
Who are you?
Well, before I was a stand-up comedian, I briefly held a job in the finance industry.
Comedian, really? So
Yes.
it's a joke, right?
We're gathering information, and then we're probably not going to use it for anything.
Like my wife says, you just don't open up to anybody about finances.
This is actually for a church thing. So I'm representing the church right now, so you can, all this is just between us.
It's not gonna be.
It's not going to be shown. It's not going to be shown to anyone. But what kind of credit card do you have?
I think we're done here.
All right. You guys have a good one. Yeah, so comedy thing, I think it's going to work out, you know? I mean, I believe in myself.
You should, but yeah, I mean, you're really not that funny.
I'm not funny all the time. Like,
Funny looking.
Like, I'm not, okay, wow. That, can we cut?
Money's really easy to talk about until it's not, right? So over the next 3 or 4 weeks, what I want us to do, you know, turn up the house lights just so you guys, so I can see you, right? I love seeing people fall asleep. The thing driving this for me is I think that Jesus and I think that the church should be a help in the things that we struggle with in life. And I think that if the Lord can't help us in the areas that are most important to us, then I am probably the first guy to say, what difference does it make then? Right? If all our faith is for sunny days, then it's fair when people say, well, what good is your faith? How is it helping you? And so if as we've been, headlines screaming at us, recession, you know, we've got less and yada, 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 the stuff that we read every day and the stuff that we're feeling and prices rising on the gas pump and, you know, your 401k is going down and all that stuff. Well, money's a big deal about our life. I mean, and some of us it's a bigger deal than others. And that's where this study sort of appealed to me. What if our finances could talk back to us? What if, you know, you talk to your money, right? You tell your money, go pay the rent. You tell your money, go make this car payment. You tell the money, let's go to the grocery store. You say to the money, let's go to Target. You tell your money, let's go into savings. You say to your money, hey, we're going to save some of this ahead for when I retire. You know that you talk to your money. What if we gave money a chance to talk back? What if our dollars actually were to say something to us? What might they say to us? And if you have a Bible, I want you to turn to a passage that maybe you've heard of in the Gospel of Luke. It's Luke chapter 12. Luke chapter 12. Here's the principle I want you to understand this morning. That your life is not measured by your money. And you can't measure yourself by your stuff. It's easy to do, right? It's easy to get sucked into the mindset that you are the sum of what you own. And that's why you feel yourself take a bit of a hit when your income shrinks. I can't buy as maybe much as I once did. I can't spend the way that I once was spending. I have less. Why is that a big deal? Well, because for some of us, and many of us I would say, we have come to define ourselves, what we think about ourselves, based on what we own. That's why, right? Some of us will take a perfectly good one of these and go buy another one. There was nothing wrong with the phone that I had. In fact, Patty would tell you we had a couple of different conversations. In fact, she bought me a phone for a birthday gift, and I said, we're going to take it back. I don't need it. Now, part of it is Mike not wanting to learn something new, right? I didn't want to mess with the gadgets. I had all the phones, it was working perfectly. But how many times do you do that? How many times do you take something that's working perfectly fine for you, but you convince yourself, I got to go swap it out. I got to have the better version. I got to have the later version. If you went to my house, you would probably, I was thinking this week, I believe that I have purchased 4 portable speakers. I don't have 1, I have 4. You know why I have 4? Because I'm in a variety of locations and I don't want to go look for the one. Right? So if I got 4, odds are I can put my hands on one, right? How many other different times do we do that? And I was even reflecting this week that culture gets it. Anybody watch those like tiny house shows? Anybody pay attention to what's happening in culture in terms of people wanting to live a minimal lifestyle and the movement towards it? What's driving that? What is fueling that? What is the drive that people feel like, you know what, I'm just getting rid of my stuff? I don't think it's religious. What's going on inside? Now, I wonder if there are people that we're coming to a spot of saying, you know what? Life isn't about what I own. Life isn't about trying to keep up with you. Life isn't trying to make myself look good by you going, oh man, look at Mike, he's got X, Y, and Z. Luke chapter 12 is a story of a guy a long time ago that was hung up on kind of like whatever we want to say, fairness, or maybe getting ripped off, or maybe feeling left out. Jesus is out and about, and he is teaching. In Luke chapter 12, verse 13, someone in the crowd said to him, that's Jesus, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." This is very common. It would be the guru, go-to rabbi. If you needed to settle a dispute, if you wanted like some wisdom, you would go to him and say, hey, here's the deal, right? So this was not an accident that this guy here, he's got a problem, and here's the problem. Parents died. They're now squabbling over the inheritance. If this wasn't so true, I was reading this week, the actress recently passed away. Her family's squabbling over the inheritance. They're going to court right now between the husband and the son. Can I ask you a question? Just put your hand up, because I am. My hand's already up. Have you ever, after the death of someone in the family, seen the family fight over what's left? Am I the only ones? Right? Why is that? Why is that? Why? Is it, I feel like I'm going to be left out? I feel like I'm entitled to something? Do I feel like I got some free money coming? I got some free stuff coming, and someone's going to take it from me? Why do families do that? Families are weird things. Comes to Jesus, said, Jesus, would you tell my brother to give me my share? Would you tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me? And Jesus replied, man, who appointed me a judge or an arbiter between you, a referee? Why are you coming to me wanting me to settle this dispute between you and your brother? Why can't you guys work this out? Then he said to everybody, I think the them is the crowd that had gathered around. He said, watch out, be on your guard, for a man's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions. Watch out. Interesting word. It means, man, be on the lookout. Have your radar up. When you watch out. Anybody have Ring doorbells? How many of you have Ring doorbells? Why do you have a Ring doorbell? That's what it does, exactly right, yeah. Why do you have a Ring doorbell? Why don't you just have a regular doorbell? Did the regular doorbell not work for you? Why did you replace a perfectly good doorbell with a Ring doorbell? So you could watch out. So you could see who's out there in your yard, on your doorstep. Watch out. Be on your guard. It's the same idea of a military or a police presence that's like just being mindful, head on a swivel. Man, it's going to come at you. Watch out. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Now that's interesting. All kinds. All kinds of greed. If I asked you to describe for me a greedy person, what comes to mind? There's no right or wrong. What does greed look like? If you were the man on the street interview and he's got a microphone in front of you and he just says, hey, what does greed look like? What comes to mind? Wanting more than you need. Okay, fair enough. Somebody else. What does greed look like? Could you recognize greed if you saw it? Say again? Okay. Somebody else. What does greed look like? Could you spot a greedy person? Are you a greedy person? I'm just asking you. I don't know if you are or not. Would you say that you're a greedy person? You know, studies say most of us say no. Overwhelmingly, we would say we're not greedy, but we can spot a greedy person a mile away. That's interesting, because that means the person that would look in the mirror and say, not me, might look at Mike and say, oh yeah, he is. Look at what he does over here, right? Are you stressed about money? Are you worried about money? Do you guys fight about money? Money.com, I read a survey this week that said almost a third of us, with this survey, 2,000 Americans, over 30% of us are either very concerned or quite stressed about our finances. A third of us. A third of us in here would be concerned about our finances. So, Bear, what concerns you about your finances? Why would people be stressed about them? Because they don't have enough? Is it like they're just above the poverty level and they're really not sure? Is it you don't have enough to buy what you think that you need? Or here's the case for most of us, self-included. I don't often have enough to buy what I want, and that bugs me. I'd like to be able to just go out and buy whatever I want, when I want it, and not have to think about it. Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be a great feeling? You know, they surveyed, read a study that said they surveyed those who make between $1 and $5 million, and they asked them, are you rich? Think about that for a second. I don't know your guys' bank accounts, but you're making between $1 and $5 million annually, and they said, are you rich? Do you realize that only 25% of them said yes? And 3/4 of them said no? Are you rich? Do you think that you're rich? I'm going to give you a number here in just a little bit that might it just is always mind-boggling when I see what's actually happening out there. But, so back to what Jesus, he's out here, he says to these guys, watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed. It's tough to spot greed, isn't it? Tough to spot greed, isn't it? Couldn't buy toilet paper for a while. Why? Because I had 150 rolls in my basement. Before you laugh at me, how many rolls did you have? I visited a friend in Michigan. He's got a garage up above his garage. He's converted into his stash place, and he took me up there. And I kid you not, I'm going to do this by memory. I think he had between 8 to 10 of these, not rolls, 8 to 10, 100 things of toilet paper up there. I said, Jim, there's only 4 of you in your family. What is going on here? He said, we never know when you're going to run out. Can you spot greed? Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. I think some greed is really easy, right? We go, oh, look at that house. Oh, look at the car they drive. Look at the watch they own. Oh, look where they go on vacation. Man, how can they afford that? What about the people who hoard? Oh, we call it saving, right? We're saving for a rainy day. Either way, what we fail to see is when I love the definition of greed that somebody said, and it was Andy Stanley, the guy who put the series together. Andy said that a definition of greed is the assumption that life is about your consumption. You and I get into the mindset that life is about, for me, what I consume. What did I just say to you a moment ago? When do I feel stressed? When I can't go buy what I want. Not what I need. It's what I want. Why can't I buy a bigger, and then you fill in the blank? Why can't I pay for a newer? Oh, man, I don't have enough money. Somebody down here said that I think a basic definition of greed, I got this out of Merriam-Webster, is the selfish desire for more of something than what is needed. It's the selfish desire within that I've already got it, but I want more of it. And Jesus said, be on your guard. Watch out against all of this, because here's the principle: your life is more than your stuff. A man's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions. Having this phone does not give me character. Having a really, really nice vehicle does not make me a more gracious person. I can have all the best toys out there, and at the end of the day, if I'm a jerk, if I have stepped on you, if I have manipulated you, if I have stabbed you in the back to get what I've got, have I won? The one with the most toys wins. True? False? I think most of us would shake our heads and say false, right? No, that's not true. But when it comes to how we live life, are we living life like it's true? Or are we really, is there something about us that says, hey, you know what, I'm going to live differently because I know that there are philosophies, there are thoughts of life out there that I can't buy into. I was thinking of this week. How many of you are parents? Good number of you are here, right? Grandparents, right? Why do we teach our kids to share? Is that important to you? Is that a value that you want your kids to have? Is that they would share, that they would be generous? And now the next question becomes, but why? I mean, if it's really about getting ahead in life, and like we measure ourselves by our stuff, then shouldn't we be teaching them to consume and like look out for number one and like really to stand up for themselves and like go out and grab it? I mean, that's sort of how we maybe live, isn't it? So why teach your kid or your grandchild to share, to be gracious, to be generous? Unless you think maybe there's a different value. maybe there's something else out there that I want for my kids or my grandkids. What is the words that most distress us about our kids when we hear it come out of their mouth? Me, mine, I, self-centered living. We want to correct that, right? We want to nip that. No! What happens when it's in us and it's us big kids and we're living for me and mine and it's I want this? How do we get from being what I think this is just the way that we are wired apart from someone intervening? If you don't teach your kids, they will grow up self-centered, self-serving, looking out only for themselves. That's why you will train them. That's why you have to teach them. That's the natural bent. That's just the way you're born wired, is to think about yourself and having your needs met. Jesus says, man, watch out. Don't live that way. Life isn't for your consumption. Life isn't about you getting just for yourself. It's bigger than that. So then my brain went to, why is this a big deal? Why be concerned about this? Came across this. Any VeggieTale fans? Yeah. Bob the Tomato says to Larry, how much stuff do you need to make you happy? Larry's a talking cucumber. I could never really get into vegetables and talk, but Larry talks back, right? Larry says, I don't know. How much stuff is there? Sometimes that's what we think about, right? It's like, I don't know. I think maybe it is about me. Why don't you flip a few pages to the book of 1 Timothy. Timothy wrote to a group of people that was a new formed church. And what I love about much of the New Testament is this. There's a lot of things that I would say are theology that are like, hey, here's how we think about God, here's how we think about faith, here's how we think about Jesus. And then there's a lot of stuff about, and here's how you live life because you think this way about Jesus. So in 1 Timothy chapter 6, in verse 6, he says, godliness with contentment is great gain, for we brought nothing into the world, and we can't take anything out of it. The proverbial, you will never see a hearse followed by a U-Haul. Queen Elizabeth, how much money did she have? I mean, I saw a list. She's like, the royals are like the fifth in all of the world in terms of what their wealth is. How much did Queen Elizabeth take with her? How much did she leave behind? You know what somebody said? All of it. She left it all behind, right? Godliness, character right with God, being content, that's a win. That's what it means, a great gain. You brought nothing into the world. You're not going to take anything with you. If we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. Yeah, right, I wish. People now who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge men into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. And some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith, and they pierced themselves with many griefs. Those who want to get rich have many foolish desires and the love of money. Let's just take this apart real quick. The idea of love of money and desire and want to get rich is the idea of something you're striving for. Like this is your goal. Like you look at it and go, man, I got to have this. I mean, this is what it is. This is like, I got to build up whatever my account is. I've got to have this nice thing. I've got to, and you know, here's what we do today. You can't afford it. You know you can't. So do most of us do? Put on a credit card. Why is credit card debt so high? Because you want things that you can't afford. And so the answer that the banks have provided for us is, listen, just go put on this piece of plastic. Oh, and then the feds raise the interest rate. And the interest rate, as it rises, now I got to pay more in interest to have this thing. And we're like, oh, interest rates are going up. My house payments are going up. My whatever, credit card rates are going up. Because I've got this desire to accumulate stuff. I want us to understand, I had a chance with the high school kids, guys, the middle school and high school guys a couple weeks ago when we talked about this. Mr. Ferris here led them in a discussion on money. Money is not the root of all evil. Money is neutral. With money you can buy medicine, with money you can buy food, with money you can buy clothing, buy shelter. You can use your money to do a lot of humanitarian good. Having money, hear me, is not wrong. Being wealthy is not wrong. It's the attitude that God was after. It's the love of money and the love of the things that money can buy. And if I back up to what Jesus said earlier, it's because I get this bad idea that those things make me look good. Having those things make people think well of me. And so what's driving you, if you peel it back, what's driving you is, what's the perception other people will have of you if you have or don't have this? And that's where Jesus would say, man, watch out for that, because that's not what your life is about. What others think of you because you have X, Y, or Z. What happens with greed? Here's why it's bad. And then I'm going to give you an answer that I want us, a thing that I want us to work on for the month of October. Give you 5 things that I think is wrong with greed that causes a problem. Here's the first. Greed always breeds conflict. How many people, when I raised your hand about inheritance, have you seen fights between families? There's a few of us in here. Greed separates people. It separates your family. Because I've seen it in my family. In my time at Stonebridge, I've had at least 3 personal conversations with you over fights that you've had when someone has died and there's been a squabble over the will and over the inheritance. At least 3 of you have come to me and we've had 1-hour conversations. The reason I keep track of that is I thought it was just my family that was messed up when this happened. And I'm like, oh no, that's out there. Greed breeds conflict in your marriage. Why do you fight over money? Maybe not all of you do. Those of you that have conflict over money, why is it? And I bet you it might fall down this trail. One of you is a saver, and you want to save. We don't have enough. I have a friend in another state, and that's the issue. We don't have enough. I don't have enough set aside for retirement. I don't know how much he has or doesn't have. But my hunch is this. One of you is a saver, and one of you is like, well, but we need this. We need this. We need to spend money on this. And now you're like, boom. Some of you won't put together a spending plan. And you won't put together a spending plan not because you're ignorant, not because you don't know how, but because when you go about doing it, you differ on where the money should go. And it's easier not to talk about it, isn't it? It's easier just to let one month roll into the next month than have to fight that battle. And then you can't figure out why you are behind, why you feel the stress, why you feel like money and pressures of money are wearing you down. Greed breeds conflict. At the workplace. Well, how does greed affect the workplace? I don't know. Think about it. Do you know anybody in your workplace that's trying to get ahead at the expense of others? anybody in your workplace that you would say isn't a team player? And it bugs you? But you don't say anything, do you? Because you don't want to cause conflict. But you know if you were pressed with a one-on-one, you're like, oh man, yeah, he says this. He's stabbed more people in the back. She's done this. They just climb over people. Greed breeds conflict. Inward greed leads to outward theft. Anybody following the rash of cars being broken into in the Metro St. Louis area? I am. I just find it interesting in that we actually sent a letter. We want to sue Hyundai and Kia, right? Oh, but what's going on there? At the end of the day, what's going on there? We have individuals in our community that are taking greed, which is inside, right? There's no law against greed, is there? In fact, wasn't it the movie 1987 Wall Street where Michael Douglas' character gets up and says, greed is good? Right? Greed is good. We should all just go out and get all we can get, right? Until when? Until what I want, I take from you. Why should I go work if I can take it from you? There's no law against greed. There are laws against greed working its way out in actions. I read this week a guy was making $900,000 a year. He was making $900,000 a year. He was arrested because he had access to private information and he was selling it to another group of people for $70,000. He was arrested and went to jail for, I think, 14 to 16 months. He's making $900,000 a year. He went to jail for over a year for selling stuff for $70,000. Does that make sense? But doesn't that happen? Aren't there headlines like that all the time that we read about? Corruption, stealing, theft. I thought this was interesting. Walmart loses $3 billion a year to retail theft. Walmart loses $3 billion a year to retail theft. You say, what's the big deal? You know, the big deal. Someone tell me what the big deal is. You pay more. You pay more when you go to the retail and buy items because you know they're not going to take it out of their pocket. So your costs go up because people don't want to and they want and they're like, oh, let me get this, right? Hey, greed is displayed in arrogance. So I'm reading here in what Paul says to Timothy. Look at down verse 17. He says, command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant or proud or to put their hope in wealth. Has anybody seen this? Have you seen this lived out in life? People who have stuff, have means, tend to look, what's the word that I use? A little uppity attitude? Like, ooh, look at me? That arrogance God talked about first. And I think the issue that God wants to address here is that when that's occurring, I'm feeling like, look what I did. Look at me. I thought it was interesting, if you Google it, the number of professional athletes, did I write it down, that are bankrupt, they declare bankruptcy after like 5 years in the league. I want to say it's close to 50%. So here are these people, they've got a lot. They're an athlete. People pamper them, wait on them, and sometimes it comes across. And then, boom, they're out of the league and the paycheck dries up. And then Paul says, command those who are rich in this world not to put their hope in riches. Okay, are you rich? Would you consider yourself wealthy? Post-Dispatch in the last 2 weeks has run us, I caught it because 2 weeks ago they ran an article on what is happening with the Archdiocese in the metro St. Louis area. They're having to consolidate parishes, and people are moving, and they've got schools that they don't have kids at or whatever. But in the midst of this 45-page report that they submitted to all their parishes, they did it by area, by geographics. So I clicked on for ICD. I was just curious to see what the report is and what they're suggesting for our area here. It included ICD, included St. Joe's and Cotterville, and then 2 or 3 of the other smaller churches here in our area. The median household income in the metro St. Louis area is like $63,000. When they did the demographic study for our area, South End of O'Fallon, Lake St. Louis, Darden Prairie, Weldon Springs, the median household income is over $90,000. Here's 1 or 2 things just happened. You just said, well, dude, I don't make that much. No, I don't make that much. Or you were like, oh, that's not a big deal. I'm still not rich. Rich is a moving target, isn't it? You know how much money you need to feel rich? Could I give you an amount? You know how much you need? You just need more than the next person that you're looking up to. You never look down. You never look down. You always look up. And you compare yourself against the person who is above you. Mike, what's that got to do with arrogance? It's a lack of humility that makes me think I need more and I need to get to that level. Oh, no, I need to get to that level. Instead of graciously in humility saying, God, thank you for what you've given me. When I read that number, that the median number in St. Louis is 60,000, I was like, oh, you know what? I really don't have much room to complain if I compare myself with those who are around. I'm looking at, I think I did some homework in terms of in the U.S., that number is somewhere between 50 and 60,000 as the median household income in the United States of America. So if you're above north of 60, you're better than most everybody else. Does my perspective change? I think greed results in shallow friendships. So let me segue. It's tough to be friends with people if you're competing against them. It's tough to be friends with people if you're jealous of them. It's tough to be friends with people if you think they're a means to help you get what you want. To be friends, to have real meaningful friendship, you've got to open yourself up and just say, you know what, man, we're one in this. We're living life together. But if I see, how does it come into play? How have I really seen it play in church? Have you ever gone to somebody else's house in a small group and go, oh man, look what they got. Man, I wish I had that. I've heard that happen. I've heard people go to other people's homes for small groups and evaluate. And how would you even come out of there with a comment in your head thinking, oh, my home's not as nice as that, unless you were thinking it. Unless you did notice it. Why did you notice it? Why do you walk away from someone else's home thinking, oh, look at what they've got, and miss the relationship? That's how I know this stuff is true. That's how I know it's insidious in our heart. We've got to guard against it. Because what's more important? I would like to think the relationships that we have as brothers and sisters, I would like to think the friendships that we have as members of the body of Christ will sustain us, not the size of our house or the car we drive or whatever. The last one, there's little joy in your life. There's little joy because you're never satisfied. Because you're always thinking about what you don't have. Because you're always comparing yourself against somebody else. I think students do it this way. I think students look at other students and go, oh, look, I wish I had their looks. I wish I had their grades. I wish I had their athletic ability. I wish I was as popular as they are. Greed. I'm not satisfied with who I am. I'm not satisfied with what God's given me. I want what they've got. And we do the same thing. I can't for the life of me, side note, figure out why all of the, what is the TV show with all the women on them? The Real Housewives series. I can't for the life of me figure out why the Real Housewives of, and then pick your community, is on TV. Someone tell me why. Except that, what? They're usually pretty to look at. Oh, they got money. Look at their homes. Let's follow the drama. That's really like, I got nothing better to do than that. But it feeds into this, doesn't it? Just never satisfy. I don't have what they have. Man, God, why did you give me the short end of the stick? And now you can see why Paul said godliness, character with contentment, being satisfied. Side note, I don't think God is saying, well, look, just like that is wrong to work hard. I don't think God is saying it's wrong to, as I said it, it's not wrong to have nice things. There are a lot of wealthy believers in Scripture. It's where's the emphasis? Is that what you need to be happy, is to have more stuff? Can you be where you are right now and satisfied and just, God, thank you for what you're doing in my life. Thank you for the work of grace in my heart. Thank you that I'm becoming more like Jesus. Oh, I need X. They did a study, I thought this was interesting. A guy at the University of California, Irvine. You may have seen this. They set up a game of Monopoly, basic Monopoly, but they rigged it. They rigged it so that one of the players was going to get double whatever he landed on. He would just get 2 times more than the rest of the players. And here's what the guy noticed as he watched the game progress. That the guy that began to accumulate more, they had a bowl of pretzels out. The guy who was accumulating more took more than his fair share of pretzels. Over the course of the game, the guy that was winning, because he was accumulating money, after the first couple times around the board, his talk was much more rude and snarky towards the other contestants. And that by the actual end of the game, he was just outright, as it says here, belligerent towards those other players because he was winning and he had it all. Paul told Timothy to tell his flock, command those who are rich. That's us. This is not an option. Command those who are rich not to put their hope in wealth, because the feds will raise interest rates, because there will be another recession, because there will be another pandemic, because there will be circumstances like a war that you can't control that's going to cause things to go higher. When you put your hope in your wealth, which is so uncertain, you will be disappointed. But rather put your hope in God, who gives us everything to enjoy, and command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, to be generous and willing to share. For the month of October, here's what I would love. If you would take me up on this challenge. This is a simple experiment, but it's an experiment anybody can do if they want to. I'd love for you to take, I've got $20 here. You could take 10, you could take a 5. No more than 20. Let's just, an agreement to that. No more than 20. And I would love for you to keep this in a spot in your wallet or your purse or wherever you carry. Here's the odd thing. Some of you don't carry cash anymore. I understand that. I think I told you about the time that I went through McDonald's drive-thru and was shocked at why the line was so small. And there's only like me and one other vehicle there. Because the system broke down and they were only taking cash. Nobody carries cash. 20-10-5. I don't care. Next 30 days. Take and use that money, whatever you determine before God you set aside, take and use that money for somebody else. Warman, what could I do with $5? I don't know. What could you do with $5? What could you do with $5 that would be an encouragement to somebody else? I got things flowing through my head right now. You know what you could do with $5? With $5, you could probably buy 3 stamps and 3 cards and mail them as a note of encouragement to somebody else. With $5, you could do that all day long. $5, you could probably buy the drink of somebody behind you. $5, you might be able to, in fact, isn't there like a meal for $4 at Wendy's? Because I've ordered it. You could pick up somebody's lunch and have change left over for $5. The problem is, and David and Daniel, you guys come back up. The problem is, here's where the challenge will come for you and I, is we often don't think about it. I don't think my $5 will make a difference. I don't think my 10 will really make much of a difference. I don't think my 20 will really make much of a difference. And I think it's because we look at it and we say, it's so insignificant. It's not much. I don't know. Have you ever gotten a note? Have you ever gotten a card from somebody when your life was sort of like, and somebody wrote a note to say, I'm thinking of you, praying for you. You came to mind. How much would you have paid for a note like that? The $1 that it was worth? Actual cost? See, I think don't look at the amount on your bill. Look at the person that you get a chance to bless and encourage with whatever that is. And let's get our eyes off ourselves and begin to really say, you know what? Life is not about assuming. It's all for me to consume. Life is meant to be lived in love and eyes towards others. That's what Christ wants us to get. Will you do it? Because what I'm going to do is we're going to put that board back there and make it a whiteboard in the sense of paper on it, and then I want to hear your stories. I don't need your names, but I'll be just curious to see our congregation, what good could we do over the next 30 days and share our stories with one another. That would be so cool. Those of you watching at home, I'd love to have you do the same thing, and maybe you'll just mail in the stories to us. Maybe you'll let us know here in the office of how God used that little bit that you had to be an encouragement to somebody else. Hey, let's stand together and we're going to sing with David.
Yeah.
me pray for us. Father, we're going to leave here. We're going to walk out. We're going to get back into life. We're going to get back into living life and doing the things that we do. And I ask that this week, you might really cause us to pause to think that you have given us all things for our enjoyment, that you are not a miser towards us. Father, you are generous beyond what we deserve. Pray, Father, for those that are struggling financially, that you might help them take some positive steps towards being released from the stress that they feel. That they might find in you, Father, that you are sufficient, but then there's also plans that need to be made. Live life maybe a little differently, maybe seeking help, maybe seeking someone's third party's opinion. I know, God, you did not intend for us to live in fear or in a sense of feeling constrained or trapped. So I ask that there might be those who find their way to freedom financially. Jesus, thank you for your love for us. And may we go in your strength. In your name we pray. Amen. God bless you as you go. Have a great week, and we'll see you again next Sunday.
Things are getting real. Jesus, take the wheel. Only way I'm getting to the other side. Days are getting dark. Life's a little hard. Blinded, but I'm trying not to lose sight. I don't got this. I know you got this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'll believe it before I see it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.